Hey polish fans, it's Caroline again and welcome to another video here at Wildwind Lacquer. In today's video we are in my very messy nail room again, and we are going to get started on organizing because I really need to get things better organized so that I can actually find nail polish when I am looking for a specific color. And I do now have the Helmers that I have all put together, ready to go. So what we're going to do is start with some sorting. We are going to start with pile 1 and then see how far we can get with a few more piles. Now I do already have polish, like that box down there is Ethereal, the little box on top is Divine Lacquer. So I do have a few brands like OPI, Essie, and Orly all set aside for the most part, although I do still think I have a few miscellaneous polishes tucked away here and there. And then of course that was all of the polish that I wanted to wear for winter, and I haven't even shared probably a fifth of it because I just have too much that I want to wear. So these are all the boxes that I need to go through, but we're going to start with this one over here. I've got my little boxes set up. We're going to do this alphabetically by brand name, and let's just dig in. All right, well, that was most of the totes of random polish. We at least have them in groupings alphabetically, so A through D, etc. It was really interesting to see how things sort of sorted out. There was a ton of A through D, not really a lot for E through H. There was some, kind of a lot for I through L. M through P was massive. And then you guys can't even really see it, but this, I had to stack it 3 times to get Q through T. There was a lot because S is like so many brands. And then I have this other little box of U through Z, which was barely any. Also, I added a little tote down there because I had potion polish already separated into its own little tote. And then any time that I found OPIs, Morgantailers or Essies, I already had them separated over here as well. So yeah, progress. All right, now let's go ahead and tackle the polish on my desktop. I'm going to put all that into some boxes so we can do some more sorting. All right, so I thought I'd do a quick little update about where we are. We are only through the letter D, so I still have all of the other letters to organize. The next tote is going to be the E through H. I also have been setting aside the toppers as I find them. The plan is to have these set aside in their own little area. I had initially started my collection that way, and in fact I probably have an entire group of toppers in their own area that I haven't even brought into this room, but that's going to be the plan for those. In the meantime, I thought I'd wrap up part 1 of my organizing video and just show you where we're at so far. So I don't know if this is going to be how the drawers stay or not, but we have the top drawer being the number polishes. So brands like 77 Nail Design, 1422, and 1850. And then into our miscellaneous A's, like I've got some Alter Ego in here. There's a few from Apipala. There is Atomic. I only have a handful from that brand. So my miscellaneous A's, there's also some Avon, I think, back there. Then I've got A, which is going to have Alchemy lacquers. We have more Alchemy lacquers, some A England. Then we get into all mixed up lacquers, more all mixed up, Anchor and Heart, and then Artis Nails. So those brands, I do have a handful of each, but not enough really for them to have half of a drawer. And then we move on into our B's, where we start with Berry M over here. I've got Baroness X, there's Bariel, Black Dahlia, there's Beau Revs. I only have a couple from that brand. They are still a fairly new brand as well. I've got some from Bear Polish, Black Heart Beauty, Beau Polish, a couple from Beyond the Nail. What else? Blue Eyed Girl Lacquer, and Butter London. Then I've got BCB, Blush, and Bluebird in their own drawer. Those are a few of the brands that I do have, or a bit of each. So I've got my BCB lacquers. That's actually the first 3 rows. We have Blush Lacquer and then Bluebird Lacquer. Then moving on to C. This one, oh goodness, C's I have a lot of, so this is a little bit chaotic. Drawer number 1 of C's is just a bunch of miscellaneous. I've got Cameo Colors, one random Calvin Klein polish that I got in a, I don't even remember, mystery box or Goodwill bag. I've got Cascade Polish, Cauldron Lacquer, Ciate, Candies, Caption back there. I have Celestial, I think one from Claire's, yeah. Then I've got Cleona Cosmetics, Chirality, Contrary Polish, and then my Cirque Colors over here. That's, I think, the brand that I have the most of in this drawer. Then Cadillacquer and China Glaze. The beginning of China Glaze has their own drawer. You will have seen me try to do this a couple of different ways when I was doing the organizational part of this, because China Glaze fits more than an entire drawer, and that's after taking a lot of them out that are toppers. So for the Cadillacquer drawer, I have those here are all my Cadillacquers, or at least the ones that I've found so far. I will say, as I've been organizing, I found a few more totes to pull out to organize. The beginnings of China Glaze, those are not really organized in any particular fashion. And then I have China Glaze continuing on up here with their own drawer with room for expansion. Then Color Club has its own drawer with a little bit of room for expansion. This is definitely one of the drawers that I'm going to have to go through and see about finding any that I might be able to de-stash. I did get quite a lot from the mystery dollar polishes that they were selling a while back, and I didn't really go through and de-stash many, if any, other than the ones that I knew were duplicates to the collection. Then we have Colors by Leroux. I did leave plenty of room in this for expansion, because if you've been following the huge estate haul that I got of over 2,000 bottles of nail polish, there was a lot from this brand, so I know that it will grow from what it is now, so I left plenty of room there. Then Cupcake and Miscellaneous C is like towards the end of the C alphabet. Cuccio Colors and Crow's Toes. And then I have all of my cupcake polishes. That's another brand that I actually have quite a number of, just not quite enough to have their own drawer. Then I have Cuticula. They do have their own drawer because I have quite a lot from them. There's still some room for expansion. So like I said, I'm not sure if this is exactly how the drawer layout will stay, but so far they have their own drawer. Then I have Coloristic Carol and CMD in their own drawer. Again, plenty of room for expansion. Then on into D's, I have Dom Lacquer, DRK, and Darling Diva in this first one, as well as a few miscellaneous like Dainty Digits. What was the other one? Daily Hues and Dance Legend. Yeah. And then of course my DRK, there's actually quite a few of those there, as well as by Danny Viana, and then Dom Nail Polish. I know I have more of those somewhere. I'll find them sooner or later. Different Dimension also has its own drawer. It's another one of those brands that I do have quite a lot of. I need to go through this brand as well. I mean, basically my entire collection. You guys hear me say that all the time. I need to do comparisons, and then see if all of these are ones that will stay just across the board, not just this brand. Then I have Delush, Deborah Lippman, and Miscellaneous D polishes. So I've got Dreamland over here, Danglefoot. I've got Dullish Polish. I have a couple of Dew polishes, Digital Nails, Dawn Diva, Deborah Lippman, Death Valley Nails, and Delush Polish. So there's quite a few miscellaneous D's there. And that is as far as we've got. So come back for part 2 when I will be doing E through H. Sorting and organizing. Depending on how long that one takes me, I might be able to do starting into I through L, which I do have a few totes of as well. So hopefully you guys liked the beginnings of organizing my collection of over 4,000 polishes. And in case you were wondering why we didn't see Bee's Knees lacquer in these drawers, I have been setting aside any Bee's Knees lacquer here because you may have seen me show you guys before. Bee's Knees lacquer has their own racks. They are, oh, I forget if they ranked number 1 or number 2 in how many bottles I have from a singular brand. So they have those 2 clear racks and then another one over here. And I'm going to have to use another rack, probably set right next to this. I'll move that box and then have a 4th rack for my Bee's Knees lacquer. But yeah, that's where the Bee's Knees lacquer is going to go, in case you were wondering why we didn't see that in the organizing process. There we have it. That was part 1. Make sure to come back for part 2. Hopefully you have a good rest of your day, and I will see you in that next one.